Oops, I should be on the top of the screen. Sorry about that. Today, we're going to talk about data, understanding the collection framework. And so, really, what we're talking about, and if you want to download this book, this PDF file, go to Gumroad right here, and look up this reference right here. So, anyways, today, what we're really talking about is we've talked about right here introduction. Let me see if we can refresh that real quick. And you can see the video here on introduction. You can see that one there. Today we're going to talk about designing the data framework. Now, why are we talking about this when we're really talking about collecting data and building a data infrastructure that we have talked about in these other videos right here? So we've talked about how to build the data framework, how to get it going, things like that. And by the way, if you want to look up these videos, you just have to go to Google and search. You can't really see it. Search for right there, Lush, and then the whatever the video number is, okay? And you just search for that and it'll come up with those videos. So, or just download the book and all the videos are referenced. So, anyways, so that's what we're doing here. Today we're going to talk about designing a data environment. And remember, what we're building here is we're really trying to get after what our data environment looks like and understand the data. This is the first step of 4. Again, those 4 are explained here in this video: improve, sustain, produce, and utilize. Okay, so those are explained there, but today we're really talking about understanding the data. But in order to do that, you're going to be collecting all types of information. So the first video we talked about understanding the data, what it is that you're really doing, really, what is the value that you're going to add to an organization? And now we're going to talk about designing that data environment. So this is really important. I cannot emphasize how important this is. And you will probably go back and adjust these lists. Now we're using SharePoint, but before we even start doing anything, we really want to plan out what this is going to look like and what the reports are going to look like in order to support it. So I have designed the data collection just to get your first thoughts. And you can see here, I put in a list. I add everything in because as I'm writing this document, I want to make sure that I can use it as a reference when I'm building out these lists. So I build the lists right. So you can see org name, single text, date. And so I'm going to go through and I'll go through and create these lists. Now, the thing that you need to remember about this is that this is done in advance. We're doing this before we even do anything in SharePoint. And then once you get it, once you start punching it in, it goes in pretty fast. Okay. So here, and I don't know why that doesn't say numeric. It should say numeric. All right, fix that. Okay, and then here is the second list right here. So, and it kind of gives some explanation of everything. Okay, so that's how to create that. And you want to think through this, right? You can see like I have scale to 10, 1 to 10, right? Or this scale that I'm using. So all of these things are they're just really important to understand as you begin this next phase, which is creating this data set to do something. So we're going to create it for our future reporting. So we want to know what it is that we're going to report on. And the reports, we're going to go into detail in the next video, but I just wanted to show you the dashboard real quick of what those reports will look like. So all of that data, this will be the dashboard. And on this dashboard, we can see, and you can see my five primary initiatives, right? Objectives, outcomes, boost efficiency, visualization, data prioritization, data hosting, and data classification. All of those, we're pulling these stats automatically. We're not hand jamming anything here. We're pulling all of this because we've thought through what that process is going to look like in the future once we get the infrastructure to support it. So again, we're kind of looking at the end and then working our way backwards. So let's go back up. We're not going to talk about those reports right now, although we will in the next video. But let's just talk about this section here. So what I've done then is I've taken this list, right? These are all of the fields. And now I want to say to myself, okay, I see the list. Now, how am I going to understand and do reporting for that, right? So what type of information do I think would be helpful in a report, for example, boosting efficiency and usage, right? So I put numapps, docvar value, process potential, process value. Okay, those are things as I'm thinking about it and looking at my list of fields, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, those are things that I want to report on as it relates to boosting the efficiency and usage in the environment. Now, the reality is when I start building this out, almost always, without fail, I get right here and I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. I need to collect this information. And I don't have it in my list in SharePoint. And so I can then, because this is just a paper exercise, I can say, oh, okay, I need process potential and I need to add that. Which list am I going to add it to? Okay, I'm going to add it to this one. And then I added it up here. Okay, so this is kind of a discovery process. You start with what you think is right, and then you kind of work through to confirm your assumptions are correct, and you modify and make it even better. So that's good. So those are the 4 or 5 that I used for boosting the efficiency and usage. And you can see the 5 variables there. Pause the video if you want to read the details related to them. These are the ones that I thought were important to kind of tell the story around boosting the efficiency and usage. And then streamlining data hosting. So here I'm collecting this data. Remember, I've defined that I need this data. But why do I need this data? Well, I need this data because I want to streamline my data hosting costs. So source is important, criticality is important, data life, data class, data availability rate, and data length. All of those important as well. So you can pause the video. Again, you can download the book as well. But if you don't want to do that, just pause the video and read through these categories and kind of get, remember, we're building so that we can understand the data in this organization. So we're building a framework to collect that information. This is not the data in the organization, right? This is just the logistics to collect that information. We need to have it in an organized manner so that we can make sense out of it. So that's the one, and then there's the bottom part of that, streamlined data hosting. So you can pause the video and capture that as well, and you can see that. Okay, the third is, again, we're focused. Remember, we're balanced. We've added these columns, but we're really building on this right here, these 5 values that we want to provide for the organization. And it's important that you align your collection and the information to those values, and you continue to use those throughout all of your reporting and everything that you're doing. And the reason why is because it's just a constant reminder. If the stakeholders agree with the value that you're providing, then you want to make sure you're putting that up and make it available to them so that they can see that you're actually bringing value to those value statements. So improved visualization is the next one. Again, pause the video. We just have visual name and visual LOE and 1 through 5. Now, why are we doing these? We could do this a whole bunch of different ways, right? We don't have to have, for example, right here, all 5 of these. We could put them together and parse the data. I'm trying to keep it really simple for anybody who wants to use this. So I kind of tend to take the little easier path and maybe a little more work from putting in, 5 different fields for this and 5 different columns for this. But, at the end of the day, it is easier for you when you start getting into Power Apps and Power Automate. So here we have visual name, visual LOE. Again, pause the video and read the stuff or download the book. Prioritize the data resiliency. So really we're focused on data resiliency here. So we're taking the value, the data wellness, availability rate. This was something I added, and this was something I added to my original list after I started thinking about this. And then the 5th and final one is classify your data, right? and we're going to use data wellness, criticality, and data class. Now notice here that data wellness appears in two different things. That's perfectly fine. You can use these are data fields. So it's logical that you would use them to support the value add and report on that value add. So the next thing that we're going to do is go over design reports and calculations. Here, we're going to take a look. We're going to give an example here, and then we'll look at some of the reporting examples and how we build those out. This is still kind of on paper. We're not really doing any coding yet. We're just getting ready. So tune into the other video. Thanks for joining.